Well, we've got to talk about Alexander Isak. He's featured front and centre there. It's unlikely he's going to feature on Monday night. A very complicated situation, isn't it?
Very complicated situation. And a situation I think could have been handled better from all parties. You know, let's be honest. I mean, it's a dance that's going to be done. It has been done between footballers and clubs, and it will continue to be done. You know, it's a contractual. Football's a contractual sport. You know, Isak signed his contract. He was happy to sign his contract when he did, and now he doesn't. He's not happy with that. He wants to move to somewhere else. Newcastle don't want him to go. So it becomes a game of cat and mouse, and it's public pressure. You know, and ultimately, it just for me, it's just distasteful. It really is. I look at Eberechi Eze and what he's done, you know, at Crystal Palace and the service he's given them, and I think he goes with the grace and blessings of the fans, the manager, the players, his teammates, and his reputation intact. I think whatever happens with Isak now, I think he gets his move, but I think it leaves a sour note for the Newcastle fans.
It's a very big difference that you've mentioned there, because Eze was in the team for Fredrikstad, the game against Fredrikstad, of course, for Crystal Palace. You know, to say goodbye, he leaves in a very different way. As we heard their manager also mentioning, my player is in training. Oliver Glasner, I'm not sure if you heard him saying, my player is in training. He's here, Mark Gay here as well. Same story. Whereas for Alexander Isak, very clearly, he's at training, but he's not in training. And I suppose for many people, that's really what they can't accept and what they don't like about it. It's because he's been paid this contract, this big fee that he agreed, as you mentioned, and he's not there for the team when they need him.
Yeah, I think it's a sad situation, to be honest, because he's such a fantastic footballer, an amazing goal scorer, especially a club like Newcastle. You know, they appreciate that number 9 figure, You know, Alan Shearer, they love Alan Shearer, this iconic figure up there, and all of a sudden you get someone like an Isak that scores goals and win a trophy. So it just seems like the perfect time to be at the football club. But I do feel like there's ways in which you do things. I think if you put yourself in the fans' shoes, you know, they obviously pay their money to come watch the team, you know, work around the clock to buy their season tickets. And then you've got one of your better players basically saying, I don't want to play for this football club. Then obviously you come out and, you know, his statements talking about, like, obviously the club understand his stance on it, and you know, the relationship's broken down. Is sort of like, it's a broken promise and it's unfixable. So it's going to be obviously hard for the fans, because you never want to see your better players go. Callum Wilson's obviously gone, and they need a forward in that. But it's a sad situation, to be honest.
Does that also remind us how important it is as a player that you surround yourself with kind of the right people?
Yeah. It is, and it's, listen, agents have a job. They got mouths to feed, and you know, every agent will want you to move, you know, because there's a beneficial financial benefit to them. So then your advice is slightly tinged. It's not someone coming from the outside saying, well, listen, you know, and also what I would say with Isak, I don't want to be too judgmental on the lad, right? Because he might have stars in his eyes. He wants to play for Liverpool. You know, and he's a young man, and he thinks this is the only way I can get what I want. And we was all driven young men at one point or another, where we footballers, we're determined and we want to do it. So that's easily that sort of emotion is easily sort of like manipulated slightly to do that. But I think Isak, whatever this situation, it will end, I think, with him going to Liverpool. And I think when he looks back at it, hopefully in his man in his 30s and his 40s, he'll look back and go, you know, I probably could have handled that better and you'd have done it differently. But we've all done things in our youth which probably wasn't the right thing to do. But if I was his big brother, I would, and you got 3 years left on his contract, and I say, listen, this ain't a fight you want now. Go and have a year in the Champions League with Newcastle. Maybe you win another trophy, cement your legacy. It might not be Liverpool next summer, but it might be Real Madrid. You know, you don't know where the world will take you, but it's important, you know, and as you get older, I think it's more important you do the right thing. You have your ethics and things like that. So I don't want to be too judgmental on him, because we've all been there, we've done the silly things, but I don't think he's covered himself in glory with how him and his team have handled this whole situation.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough to say. Well, Eddie Howe spoke about the latest on Alexander Isak's situation and whether he'd welcome him back.
In this situation, the club has spoken, and probably justifiably so in that moment. He's contracted to us, he's our player. My wish is that he would be playing on Monday night with us, but he won't be.
Okay, let's talk about the game itself already now that Eddie Howe's confirmed that Alexander Isak won't be there. He'll be a big talking point, no doubt, but there is football to be played. These games are always very interesting now between Liverpool and Newcastle. Yeah. They played in the Carabao Cup final as well, Newcastle getting that big victory.
Yeah, and then obviously you can see why Liverpool want Isak and a fantastic goal there.
Yeah.
But I mean, over the years, I remember watching some of the amazing goals, like, you talk about Sprilliers and the Ferdinands and Liverpool with Robbie Fowler and Stan Coleman and all that. But yeah, so it's always been a fixture that there's loads of goals, an exciting fixture for whatever reason, and obviously one that we look forward to watching. But I think this Liverpool team and the sort of like the quality they've got in those sort of like forward areas with like a TK, watched him live the other night and he was unbelievable. Really exciting watching. I think we'll score a lot of goals this season, especially about the chances, Verts and the two fullbacks, Kirkers and Frimpong has got an injury. But yeah, really exciting squad.
Yeah, Frimpong is injured, I think, till after the international break. Just your thoughts on Liverpool, of course, their opening win.
I thought going forward they were sensational, and I did think there'd be a little bit of teething problems. I think they've done brilliant business, Ekatike, Frimpong, Verts, but they was getting caught on the break a little bit. Yeah. There was holes in it, and which was slight, and that's okay because you're changing parts of your team. It was just about finding balance. Gravenbach's available for this game, so I expect him to come, and he was sensational last year at snuffing teams out and stopping the counter attack. But it's a great game, and this game could be another classic because it's poised. I watched Newcastle, and they are literally, I think, the best team at winning the ball in the midfield with Joe Linton, Tonali, and Guimaraes, and breaking. They got pace in Elanga, Gordon, Murphy. So the game's going to be there has to be goals in this game. There has to be goals, I think, and it's going to be an exciting one. And I think it could be a high-scoring draw.
And then Monday night, Newcastle, Liverpool.
Newcastle.
You told us already.
No.
Really?
No, I'm going to go Newcastle. I don't know why. I just on the counter attack.
I think an amazing game. I think Liverpool 3-2.
Cool. Do you think high scoring as well?
I think high scoring.
Yeah.
It'll be high scoring, but I'm just going to shade Newcastle.
Do you know what the problem is? The first game of the weekend has spoiled you guys, thinking 6 goals now.
This is what I mean.
In every game. That's why we love the Premier League.
2 attacking players.
It's the Premier League, isn't it? That's what we're used to.
Absolutely.